Hello everyone, welcome to Frontline Systems, a special webinar on how to share your model and collaborate in Teams, Tableau and Power BI using the power of Analytic Solver. My name is Dr. Sima Maliki. I am pleased to host this webinar and welcome you. Given that you are here today, you are using one of our products and probably have a working model and you're getting results. However, this is just the first step. To gain the real business value, you need to get the results of your models into the hands of people who need to use those results and doing so in an ongoing basis. For example, operations, sales, customer service, manufacturing, and they want it in a form that they can easily ensure it is up-to-date data and they can rerun the optimization model and view the results, or they want to plug them into another software, application, or process. Today, we want to make sure you are aware of some of these possibilities that are available to you. So you can embed your own model into your own application and solve it onto the web or within Power BI or Tableau by calling our RASON servers. And also there is a front-end portal to RASON server at rason.com that I have depicted down here. So there's a RASON server and there is rason.com, which is a front-end portal to RASON server. You can easily create a web application with a few clicks, and you can host your Excel workbook results in Microsoft Teams. And all of this is possible because of the power of Analytic Solver plus RASON. So today we talk about how to make your model results available to people using Teams, Cloud, Power BI, and Tableau. If time allows, I will also show you how to create your own web application. We will talk a little about RASON, which is our cloud platform for model deployment. And I will show you how with only a few clicks you can deploy your models to Azure Cloud to run them as cloud services using Analytic Solver plus RASON. We now have access to Analytic Solver version 2023 Q2. And I have some good news to share about you about what is a converting at-risk model, which is available with just one click to make them fully compatible with Analytic Solver, which is now available in Q2 version of Analytic Solver, which is the shipping version. So you're welcome to download or update the version of Analytic Solver that you have. Now let's get going. Let me open our first example. We are not going to spend any time about what kind of model we have. This is a simple transportation shipping example that we have. So it's available if you go to help, example models, optimization example, you can access all of these examples that I will be showing you today, okay? Let me walk you through the deploy model option. So click on Analytic Solver ribbon. This is the deploy model icon. Let me highlight it. Okay, so we'll be spending most of the time today's webinar on deploy model. So let's click on that. As you can see, you have options for Teams, Cloud, Power BI, Tableau, or your own application on the web. So another way to put this before we start is the purpose of deploy model is to enable your model to be used wherever, whenever it is needed. On the factory floor, on a salesperson's laptop or smartphone, or in a call center custom application, okay? So now we are going to walk through these easy to use deployment options. If you want to share your interactive model results without sending the whole workbook, you can send a report through Microsoft Teams containing interactive links to your original workbook. How do we do this? This is our transportation example. Step 1, your workbook must be saved to a location that is network accessible. So if I want to show you, you can go to File, Save, a copy, and then you can put it, for example, I have mine on Frontline Systems. You can put it on OneDrive, okay? Or you can also put it on Sharepoint if you want. Anywhere that's network accessible, okay? It's better to give it a simple name. Step 2, you have to first solve the optimization, but I will show you. If you haven't solved the optimization, this Teams report will be grayed out and it won't be available. Okay, click Optimize, skip guidance, let's solve the model, and then go to Deploy Model, Teams report. My model is already available in Frontline System Business OneDrive, okay? So it's network accessible. So now you have the option to choose exactly which optimization, this is optimization model, so in the simulation, same situation, which optimization or simulation results you want to include in this report. So you want variables, function, and objective. Imagine you want to share your optimization result, but you don't really want to send the whole workbook. I'm going to select everything. Okay. Click OK and give it a few seconds. This team dialog appears, and then you have to select the team and channel where you would like to share the results. You can, for example, my team is office hours, my channel is webinar test, workbook name, let's just keep Teams report, okay, and then give it the report name and date and click on send, okay? So you can adjust the details. First, we get this message that the file was successfully sent to Teams. You can solve or simulate again to refresh the Teams workbook. Okay, so you don't need to redo this. Once you, if you make any changes, rerun the optimization, you can just refresh it in Teams. Okay, so one time is enough. And you can see there's a optimization Teams report inserted to the left of our model. Okay, let's go to Teams. Okay. New workbook holding model result that we selected with external link is inserted. Okay. Now let's open Teams. Let's go to where I have my office hours, webinar test. This is the one we created 10:10 a.m. Teams report. Let me point, you have been running some tests. Okay, so this is the one. Let's click on that. Now we need to enable the content. Okay. So initially you will see NAs or block, but once you enable the content, you can see the results. And here are the results. Just exactly like the report we saw in Excel. So your colleagues can see your model results in Microsoft Teams. So if a parameter changes in the original model, you can simply resolve the optimization, then click refresh icon here, and then there is no need to deploy a new Teams report. This is just an example of what can be done, okay? You're not limited to this. You can make changes. There's a lot more possible when it comes to working with Microsoft Power products. All the Microsoft products work very well with Analytic Solver platform and also RASON, so they're very well compatible. And we created this as an example of what is possible, for example, with Teams, okay? Any questions so far? Power BI is another product of Microsoft, right? So this is another example of how easily you can work with another Microsoft product. Okay, this is a simple product mix model. So I want to create a custom visual from this product mix model. Our goal is to quickly call a model on RASON Server using Power BI and display the results in Power BI without any code. You can also, there are two options. You can also generate a RASON equivalent of your model embedded in a custom visual inside Power BI, run the model on the server, and display the results. I will show you both of the options. So let's click on Deploy Model, Power BI. So there is Manage Model option and there is Embedded Model option. If you use Power BI Manage Model, you will be prompted for the name of the model that is previously posted to RASON Server. And what happens is it will call a model from Power BI Custom Visual. So the model itself is no longer in Custom Visual, it's actually sitting on RASON Server. We are calling it from to Power BI, okay? And if you have new data, you can run the model in server, send the data from Power BI, run the model and get the results, okay? But the model is managed and maintained on RASON Server. To use managed model, so first option is to promote this model to have a copy of it on cloud as a cloud service. So to do that, just go to cloud service. There are two ways when it comes to optimization and simulation. You can actually translate your whole Excel workbook to RASON language. That's what I'm going to do now. Or you can actually promote your Excel model itself to sit on RASON Server. Let me show you what happens. Okay, cloud service, RASON model. You just give a model a name and click on Save. This is rason.com. the whole model is now automatically translated for you in JSON syntax, okay? And it's sitting on RASON Server. We just see a copy of it in this front end portal. To make this more clear, let me go back to this slide. Remember I told you, you start from Excel to create a cloud service. You can promote your Excel model to have it on RASON Server, to maintain it, to solve it. And there are two ways to do this. You can have it as an Excel workbook or RASON translation. At the same time, a copy of model will be available on rason.com, which is the front-end portal to this RASON server. So your model is sitting here, but we see a copy of it here on rason.com. And then let's click on Deploy Model, continue to Power BI. Now we can use the Manage Model option. Okay, so let's click on that, model name, save. Once we do that, a few things happen. We are going to create custom visual, which is called PBI Viz. Okay, that's the file type. Just give it a name. So let's do webinar 8888. Once I click on save, you will see that two command prompt windows will appear on the screen. Okay, and you can see after a few minutes they will disappear. After it's done, we can import the visual to Power BI, but the model is sitting on RASON Server. Okay, while this is happening, let's open. So see, it's almost finishing up. Let's go to Power BI. We have to import the custom visual to Power BI. I'll show you two ways to do this. Okay, one is that's showed in the user guide is to click on this three dots, okay, on the visualization and import a visual from a file. Choose that, import. Now let's see if this is finishing up. Almost done. Once they disappear, the model will be ready. It was webinar 888. So now let's look for the file I created, webinar 888. Let's choose that, okay, and then click open. Visual was successfully imported into this report. Click OK. Let me erase this. You can see the difference now. Now we can see a frontline system icon here. Application that our custom visual is here. Let's click on that. And then you see the two gears happening during this time. We are connecting with RASON server. We are running the model on server. Once model is solved, final variable and objective and constraints are imported back into Power BI, and then results are displayed. Of course, this is just a basic of what you can do. There's so much more you can do, but I'm going to show you some more examples of more advanced way of doing this. Deploy model option allows you to create a data well in Power BI which accepts input data. So let's learn how to do that. This is a Power BI mix example, okay, and we have different parts to be manufactured, and then there are different inventory levels. There are parameters for the optimization model. These are the inventory levels. We can actually, if you want to be able to change the inventory values and resolve the product mix example model, not in Excel, but in Power BI, you can do that. So I want to make it clear that how you can pass data and make it clear that Power BI would accept data from you, okay, as input for the optimization. So you have to insert what we call a Power BI PSI data SRC, okay? So to get that function, you can actually just type it in, PSI data SRC, okay? And you can work with the, click on the function option to see all of the arguments. So you can see it has 5 arguments. First one is the name, okay? It just takes the text file, okay? That creates by custom visual, and it's submitted along with model to RASON server. For example, here we have inventory SRC. Column names is the name given to data well that will appear in Power BI. Data well will hold the actual data, okay? For example, ours would be inventory, okay? So that's the column name, right? Inventory, the data well. And then the data, where it is. So for our parts inventory, it's from cells H18 to 23. Then you also have to pass, let me show you the actual one. Okay, H18 to H22. And then the next one is the index, okay? index sec for the data that you have to pass in the data argument. Once you insert that function, then you have to create a new custom visual. Create a new custom visual. To save time, I'm just going to use the embed model. Okay, so we don't need to post to RASON, update the model, RASON server, and then redo it. Okay, so let's just go on with the embed model. Let's do webinar, this time call it 444 and click on save. Same way, we have to wait a few seconds for it to run and create a new custom visual for us. So let's go to custom visual Power BI. Let's create a new page. Okay, so let's insert page 2. This time, click on File, Import. Okay, and then Power BI Visual from File. Okay, but you will see that it will expect some data. So I want to show you how to import data. So you have to create your data file. For this example, this is the data file, okay? So I have parts. Remember, we had parts and inventory. And you remember, all the names and text should match. Okay? So let's go to Power BI while waiting. This is almost finishing up. Okay, so let's click on Get Data, Excel Workbook. Okay. And then let's go to the folder that I have my product mix data file. And let's insert all the data we need. I need both of this. For this example, we just need parts inventory. So let's load both of them. Then you will see everything appear in this side. Now let's go to Frontline System icon, import a visual from a file, import, and then look for webinar, test for webinar, webinar 444. It is actually having a data well and is looking for data. Now we have to pass parts and inventory. So let's drag parts and put it here. And then drag inventory and put it here. Let's make sure it is not summing. So I'm going to change this to do not summarize. Okay, and then it will rerun the model and we get the same results. Now, I want to show you another example and show you how you can actually pass the constraints, because you can see we are only demonstrating the variables here, but there is a way to show the constraints final values in Power BI custom visual. Okay. Let's run one more custom visual. Here I have 4 side data SRC functions for inventory, for profit, for parts, required parts, and for initial values for variables. Okay. To pass the constraints, I'm checking the constraint final values and then also the slack values. So I created all of these, and then now you have to go to deploy model again, Power BI, embedded model. Let's create a new custom visual. We call it webinar and then call it 555 and click on enter. So let's just give it a few seconds. And again, you can do all of this with manage model option. Let's go back to Power BI, new page. Almost finishing up here. Go to File, Import, Power BI Visual from File. So webinar 555 is available. Okay, let's show that. As you can see again, it requires some input data and there are more fields now. And we're going to use all data for that. Parts is first, so just drag and drop here. Next is inventory, drag and drop here, make sure it's not summarized. Then we have products, drag and drop it here. Profit, drag and drop here, make sure it's not summarized. Required parts, drag and drop here, make sure it's not summarized. And then initial values, okay, last one, initial values, and then do not summarize. And as soon as we finish, you can see that it's running on RASON, running the model, get the result, display the outcomes, and here you can see there's much more we're demonstrating in Power BI in this custom visual. We have the variables, and we also have constraints. Let's move on to using Tableau. When you choose deploy model, Tableau, manage model, you must previously use deploy model cloud service to get a name model that lives on the public RASON cloud server. So let's click on deploy model, Tableau, and we have already posted this model. So let's go to manage model, product mix webinar. This model is already sitting on RASON server, right? So let's click on save. Choose a folder. I choose test for webinar. Analytic Solver will automatically create a Tableau dashboard extension, which is a TRX file that can be used on a Tableau dashboard. So this tells us that the Tableau extension was successfully created. Now let me browse to the location of that TRX file. I want to show you where that is. Here is my test for webinar folder extension, and here is the TRX file. You can open it with Notepad and you can see all the details. This dashboard extension does three things. It prompts you in Tableau to connect the input data if there is input data for any Tableau source. And then if the data is updated, it will automatically run your model as a crowd service, getting optimization or simulation results, and then it displays the results similar to Power BI in bar chart format. This is our Tableau, okay? And then you can click on Home button. For this one, we don't have data, okay? So I just need to create a new dashboard. And then you click on Extensions. Extensions are here. Let's click on Extensions. Access local extensions. Let's click on that. And then it's test for webinar extensions. And this is the one we created in 1032. Okay, let's click on that. And it tells us that will contain the information, web application, click OK. This is created by Frontline Systems. Okay, and then two gears should appear. And we're running the model, get the results, and here are the outcomes. This is again just a simple one, but now we can also import data to dashboard. Okay. To do that, let's go back to our product mix. So let's click on deploy model, Tableau. This time I'm going to use embed model option and same folder, select folder. Now let's open Tableau. Okay. So let's click new sheet, data, new data source. This time it's just Microsoft Excel. And then let's look at product mix data. And they're processing our request. We just need the parts inventory. Okay, just drag and drop it here. Okay. So let's go to sheet 2. So you drag parts into rows and then pass the inventory levels and make sure to tell Tableau these are dimensions. Okay. So now we have sheet 2 ready. Let's go to new dashboard, extensions, access local extensions, where you have test for webinar, where I have my extensions, solver. So you have to actually drag sheet 2 here. Now you can see it's asking for data. Sheet 2 is where we have the data. I just drag and drop it here. You can have parts because it's sort of looking for data source for parts because we passed that PSI data SRC. Click OK. And we need to pass inventory and click OK. Once we do that, it runs the model, gets the results, and displays the outcome. Let's click on deploy model. One more thing you can easily do is create a web application from the model. So click on quick test web page. It creates the HTML file for you that's self-contained, and it will actually connect directly with RASON Server. And if you click on any of these, it will solve the model on RASON Server and displays the results here for you. Okay. If you right click, you can actually view source code. You'll see that we are calling RASON Server and passing the model, okay? And then this also shows you example of how you can create your custom web application. This is just an example for a basic one, and then you can modify, add visualization, and much more. So let's have a recap. Today, we only explored a few of Solver capabilities that are available to you. With the power of Analytic Solver plus RASON, sharing your model results with your team members becomes very easy. We learn how you can do that with teams, and then you can go beyond Excel, use a cloud service, and Analytic Solver and RASON work greatly with Microsoft Power products. We learned you can easily work Power BI, you can work with Tableau, and you can promote your models to be able to run them on RASON Cloud, okay, and make them available to other people. I show you how you can create your own web application with just one click. This was an introductory webinar to encourage you to explore these possibilities. You can learn more about RASON and what can be done. RASON can do much more than what I talked about today, but that's a topic for a different webinar. And you can actually create multi-stage decision flows with RASON with automatic scheduling. This is a good news I wanted to share with you. In the new release of Analytic Solver, you will see that there is a new feature that with just one click, you can convert an at-risk model to an equivalent Analytic Solver model, and then you can use all the possibilities. And this would be under distributions and then convert. So just choose your at-risk model. If you're an at-risk user, click on convert, automatically converts it for you to a running Analytic Solver model. All the functions would be converted. You have the equivalent model, and you can use all the possibilities with the cloud, with Power BI, with Tableau, and Teams, and much more. Thank you very much for joining us today to learn about all the possibilities that are available to you to go beyond Excel. For modeling and support, you can reach out to Tony. For upgrade and accounting queries, reach out to Allison. For licensing, Dane. Customer support, mark@solver.com, MARC, and I'm available if you have any other modeling question or you need consulting help. We appreciate your time to join us today. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye for now.
Thanks, Seema.
Thank you.